piece of pie. Conquer fears, won't let them reside. Heartbeats pound as we take the dive. Living now feels so alive. Heart steel veins glowing bright. Fitness gone in the dead of night. Dating game, we got the sight. Crushing finance, career out of sight. Man up now, we own it true. Breaking change, just me and you. Success stories everywhere. Living life beyond compare.
Oh, howdy doody. It is March Market Madness. I love my play on words. Dude, I'm getting really good at making such dumb dad jokes. But this is crazy. I want to talk about the markets today and what has been going on because for those that don't invest or those that do, I mean, those that don't invest, it's been a bloodbath. For those that do invest, I'm sorry, but it's been a very, very turbulent time. And before we even get into that, I want to ask you guys: Did you guys see what Donald Trump just said? Or I don't know if it's his administration or what, that all the Department of Education workers have to work from home tomorrow. Do you guys think he's going to shut it down?
Shutting it down, I don't know. I think there is going to be a massive revamp, which I think is very necessary and needed. Call it what you will, but I think Doge, Elon Musk, and that team are doing great things to balance the budget, get things back in line, and stop this wasteful spending. So, and just like the abortion thing, he's not shutting it down. He's just shutting it down on the federal level and giving powers back to the states, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that what the Doge is doing for sure is, ensuring that the money is being put to good use for its intended use, right? And sometimes people hear the headlines and they think like, oh my gosh, like they're axing these programs, right? Like USAID, right? It sounds like, oh my gosh, it's this great, awesome thing. The intent for sure is great and noble. But then if you take a look and see like, hey, where is the actual money going? What's it actually being put to use for? It turns out there's a whole lot of things in there that, are not in line with that original intent. So I think people should get past like the intent of what things sound like versus where things are actually going. And especially when you're dealing with hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars, yeah, somebody should be looking at it to say like, hey, where exactly is this going? So I think, with the Department of Education, it's one of those like, stay tuned tomorrow to find out on tomorrow's episode. But it will be interesting to see what happens because, for years there's been, noticeable metrics where it's like, the U.S. education system, right? We've statistically, when it comes to our rankings and positionings, other places have been sort of slipping and falling behind and not doing as well on the international circuit. So, I mean, yeah, everything is up for review. So don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I'll be just as curious as you to see exactly what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, it's super fascinating. I mean, when you think about expenditure within the federal government, I was looking at some of what I would consider, and maybe I'm off kilter, but what I would consider ridiculous things to spend money on. I think it was like 4.3 million on studying how to make a mouse transgender. I just can I just have a little bit? Because like if you divide that out, it at least every American get a little bit of something. But that's what I want to talk about, because with these massive moves, when they're doing all of this and they're essentially gutting the federal government, we've seen a huge shakeup. I know I had I didn't have the chart. I'll pull up the chart, but it just was a downslide. As soon as he started to implement some of these policies and start gutting the government the way that he's doing, which I do believe is appropriate. And the reason why I say that is because of the wasteful spending, like that example that I mentioned. But what do we think about this reaction? I want to turn it to you, Josh, because both crypto, even though the US government, even though they stated they will have a crypto reserve, well, why did the crypto markets crash? Why is the stock market crashing? What is going on? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I tell people like right now there's bloodbath, but that just means vampire mode, right? So you gotta absorb it. Now's a great time to get some very good discounts on a lot of things that you may be interested in. And essentially, what we're seeing is we're seeing a reaction to the uncertainty surrounding a lot of everything that's going on. So not just sort of the government efficiency being at work in that play, but also a lot of stuff that's related to the concerns around the tariffs, right? Where, hey, we're going to put tariffs on Canada. Canada said they're going to put tariffs on us. China is going to potentially get tariffs. Like all of this talk and uncertainty around that has people sort of shifting which direction that they want their money or their capital to go to. So, and crypto is now not exempt from that. The interesting side about crypto, though, is that a lot of the staging with the larger players in the space, cough, cough, looking at you, XRP, they are very, very much positioning themselves very, very well to capitalize on where things are now. So it's kind of like what we saw back in early 2020, and specifically more so in like early 2021 with the markets in the crypto space, where big institutions, they know it's coming. They're just slowing it up a little bit so they can better position themselves. And so right now with the strategic Bitcoin reserve that is announced and will be coming out, and then other states will likely start doing their own Bitcoin reserves. There's also going to be some interesting things where we're going to see probably Doge ETF. We're probably going to see an XRP ETF and a Solana ETF. So all of the foundational pieces on that are getting put in place right now. But right now, it's just a little bit of the turbulent airflow, which is, you've been living and swimming in the crypto space. It's not unaffected. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Market's down 20%, right? Like, wake us up when it's down, 1,600%.
Are you saying this is a little bit of FUD?
There's quite a little bit of it in there, quite a little bit. But it's an interesting time in markets in general. But you're seeing the sentiment of where money is right now. And right now it's like, okay, everybody knows there's a big shift, there's a big change and things are going. Now with any big change, there's always a little bit of uncertainty as things get a little hammered and smoothed out. But kind of knew or had anticipated that the first like 2 to 3 months would be pretty tumultuous on that front, because you have to melt and fade away a little bit of the old previous guard as the new things come in and what exactly that looks like. So yeah, it's not unanticipated, but it's definitely fun that it's happening in March with the March Madness theme.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This entire thing, like, so that's one of the things that I find interesting. Like, do you think that right now is a good time to buy, or do you think that we're not even at the dip?
I mean, hashtag not financial advice, right? But if you've been, sort of dollar cost averaging, now's the time where your dollar cost averaging is going to take you a lot further. So you just scoop up more while you're sticking with your plan, because we're kind of seeing, right, what happens when you pull back a spring and you pull it back, get that tension. So once it flies, it really flies. And again, guys, it's like, remember, there was once a time where the thought of a $100,000 Bitcoin was this far away fantasy. Maybe it may never, ever possibly happen. And now we're seeing Bitcoin slide anywhere between, 75,000 all the way up to like 105,000, just sort of floating around in that range. Like, understand the level that like we're at, as well as the amount of infrastructure that's being put into place with what's the announcements coming down the pipeline around these reserves. So if the federal government and state governments are suddenly going to start implementing strategic reserves for Bitcoin, what drives price up? Buying, right? So if they have these reserves, they got to fill them. That means they have to buy. So that means that price go up, right? So, again, not financial advice, but I would just say that if you're dollar cost averaging right now, you're getting quite a bit more that'll make you very, very happy in the long term. But again, not financial advice.
I would definitely agree with you. And I want to bring up a good friend here in a moment. Right now is the time to DCA. Don't get too aggressive, but right now is definitely the time to take a look at a proper DCA strategy because I do believe that part of the market crashing is almost planned. So this is a gift. It's a gift right now to be able to buy at these prices, especially for certain assets. And when you're buying right now, I mean, you're going to kick. It's the same thing with what you just said. Nobody ever thought it was going to get to 100,000. But nobody ever thought it was going to get to 60,000. Nobody ever thought it was going to get to 10,000. So think about that. But I want to bring up a good friend. We've talked crypto before. We've talked a lot of Solana, and I think it'd be good for the discussion. So I'm gonna bring my good friend AJ up with his cowboy hat. What's up, brother?
What's up? What is up? What is up? Oh, it's March Madness. Go UVM Catamounts. Wearing my green for them. Hopefully
I
I'll make the tournament this year.
1000% support that hat, my friend. Yes.
So we're just talking AJ, just get you up to speed. So we're just talking essentially March market madness. If you've seen like kind of how everything's been going on
Oh,
and
yeah.
some of the moves that Trump's made, it's been really interesting to see how markets are reacting.
Yeah, I think it's I have the conspiracy theory side of things here. I think it's there to make people start ignoring the Epstein list a little bit more. Like destroy their 401k. Also, Larry Fink's trying to steal the money from the boomers. So
Yeah, I think there's a lot of distractions that are going on right now, but it's interesting how the market's actually reacting. And like maybe this is, I mean, the art of the deal. Maybe this is what it's all about. It's just a whole plan on how to get what he wants. So it's been interesting. But Kevin, I want to turn to you. What are
I
your
did have
thoughts
one
on
thing
everything that-
real fast.
Mhm,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I did to go off his state and local reserves. Fort Worth a while ago, which is like my county seat. They back when Ethereum was still proof of mining, they were mining Ethereum to get them a reserve ahead of time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Texas has been kind of a funny enough, like California, parts of California and Florida, like kind of pride themselves on like being like, you know, kind of the crypto capitals. But Texas, if you look at the actual implementation, they've actually been ahead of the game like quite a bit. And with the Texas Stock Exchange launching later this year, things are about to get really, really interesting in that state.
Oh yeah, and like my industry, data centers, it's crypto galore, AI galore. I am
Yeah.
not going to be without a job ever.
No.
Mm. Yeah, like you were saying, Alex, you know, crypto aside, just all the markets, yeah, we've had a sell-off, correction, whatever you want to call it. We're nowhere near a recession. You know, the first recession that affected me was in 2007 and 2008 when I was just starting to get into investing. And now that was really a sell-off. Alan Greenspan, great, brilliant financial mind, came out and said, it looks like the United States could slip into a recession. Markets went down. I think the Dow went down 7% the next day, which is triple what the Dow has been doing on a daily basis here. And S&P, NASDAQ followed, and that continued. And all markets went down about 50%. So anyone that ever tells you, I lost my entire retirement when we had the crash back in 2007, 2008. How did you lose everything when it only went down 50%? And it only lost if you sold while it was down. But words like tariffs being brought up, especially in the media, being used as basically a weapon to scare the American public that, oh, prices are going to go up because now the U.S. just charging tariffs, not just paying them, has got a lot of people scared. And that's why you get a sell-off, which is what we've been going through for about the last week and a half. And it will correct itself. But for a long-term investor like myself, still not even at midlife, this is a time to buy. All my securities are on sale right now. So to get out right now and lose money is not the smart thing to do. This is not going to be a recession like 2007. I don't think. But we do have some growing pains to get used to the new policies that are coming out with the Trump administration, the executive orders. And there's a lot of turmoil in the world right now when it comes to Israel and Hamas and Ukraine and Russia. So a lot of people are getting scared. A lot of investors are selling off. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to lock in some profits, that you've made over the last 5, 10, 15 years, I can understand that, but nobody's getting out completely. And that's a good time to maybe reassess your portfolio, to sell off and make some profits and then get back in. But me, I am doubling down on what I normally invest on a monthly basis, just because we're not right now, we're in a sell-off, because that is the perfect time to buy, is when everything's on sale.
And
Oh,
if you
wow.
guys had liked, comment, and subscribed, right, then which you guys should totally do. It's free, costs nothing, takes 30 seconds to do.
Absolutely.
But
I gotta say this. Kevin kind of brought it up there with the tariffs. The public education system has failed the American public, because up until 1913, and the Federal Reserve Act got passed and we had the income tax come in, we funded the country on tariffs. We won wars with the tariffs. We had public schools. We had a military.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, also
yeah.
too, if you understand, a good book that everyone needs to read, right, is The Lords of Easy Money, right? That tells you exactly how we got where we are, especially with quantitative easing and all that fun stuff. Understand how the money system actually works, and then understand when things like this happen, right? How it scares people into giving up their assets, and then everybody else that's on the other side is, okay, cool, we're just going to buy them up at a discount. But, again, if you guys had been paying attention to the channel, Kevin had a fantastic investment 101 webinar that he did a few weeks back. And so, for you guys, definitely pay attention to that, because we got more of that type of stuff coming up. So definitely keep that on your radar. But, like and subscribe, so that way you get wind of when it's coming. That way you can join the group and then get some heads up on it, because Kevin had a fantastic presentation on it and was able to help give the guys some good insight into exactly what we're dealing with right now.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, dude. I was so prepared for everything that happened, just because you're reminded of fundamentals. It was structural foundation. It's the key to everything. And I find the entire thing interesting, and that's why I think there's got to be some manipulation here, because as the market crashes, well, the price of eggs is going down. Why would that be?
Oh, snap. Eggs are getting reasonable again. All right. About to make some
I thought that
deviled
was
eggs
so
and
funny. I found that out today when I was looking at this, and there's actually that's a whole other story, but there's actually some manipulation going on in that market that previous administrations allowed to go on. But paying attention to things is the most important thing about how to move. And as we're all saying here, and that's why I said it the way I did earlier, when it comes to buying the dip, continue to DCA, maybe increase the DCA. I mean, not financial advice, maybe increase the DCA, but don't. And when I'm saying DCA, I'm talking about dollar cost averaging for the day, because I do it daily instead of weekly or monthly. So if you're doing it on those types of terms, maybe it would be interesting to look at world markets, the global financial market, and think about it that way, because I think we're revving up for something huge here.
Well, AJ, I'll pose a question to you, right? Because you're in the data center space right now, right? And as you were saying before, right, you got a lot of healthy amount of options that'll be available for you for years to come. What trends are you seeing in that data center space, and what are the implications for the trends? Because I have my own sort of thoughts on it, but I'm really curious to see yours, as you're right there on the front line.
Not financial advice, but I would highly recommend investing in NVIDIA. I can't tell you my clients or anything like that, but one of my clients is leasing one of our buildings, the whole entire thing, actually 2 of our buildings, both are 36 megawatts apiece. They are all for AI. That's it. And NVIDIA is building the AI GPU that this company is using.
So they're building very large data warehouses right now.
Yeah. This is my company's first attempt at it. The whole entire facility, it's the next building over. I don't work in that building because I don't want to deal with that client. But it's all liquid cooled racks. Nothing but liquid cooled racks.
Okay.
So AI is where I'd be putting my money into, and NVIDIA being the producer of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing people don't realize, is that it's, there's a lot of capital we made. Like, everybody talks about, like, okay, Grok 3 has this new AI that's out, and then there's what is it, Sonora is that other AI platform, OpenAI, right? But it's like, well, that's great, but who's making all the hardware that all that stuff is running on? You look at who's making all that hardware, who, again, may not be who AJ is talking about, then that should let you know exactly where the positioning is going. So, if you want to position yourself very well, yes, the big companies do get the good headlines, but there's plenty, if not far more money to be made by looking at all the support infrastructure, because OpenAI, they don't make GPUs, right? They do all the programming, all the coding. They're not building their own hardware in-house. So look at who's making all of the essential components that they are using and relying on. And the fact that that demand is about to really skyrocket, that should right there tell you exactly how to position yourself extremely, extremely well.
And I would also add to that, like on my side of the IT industry, because I deal with the infrastructure itself, because you need the infrastructure, start looking into the companies that we buy our switchgear from, where our UPSs are coming from, stuff like that. Buy Cummins. Need diesels, buy it.
Fair enough. It's very interesting, like how things are changing. Josh, thank you so much for joining. I know you got another call to hop to, but we'll keep talking for a little bit on this. It really is interesting, and that's why I think that everything that's going on, and again, it comes down to part of the deal. That I think that a lot of this is a distraction, and that's why the market is feeling so uncertain. But it's all planned, and so we're just moving in a different direction. But the grand scheme of it all isn't exactly revealed. I have a feeling that what's going to happen is, unless Trump acts like a petulant child as we go along, which I do not believe that he will do. I think he does. Honestly, like whether you like him or hate him, I think he does come from a place of power when he's speaking to these world leaders. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to be this big dump, but then there's going to be growth. Mm-hmm. So I think that truly, I've never seen a better buy the dip. Well, no, I guess I'm going to stick by my statement because I wasn't there for the Great Recession. But I was going to say this is the greatest buy the dip opportunity of our lifetime. Truly, like I don't like. It's going to go back. It just needed to have a slight correction.
Yeah. Well, somebody said earlier, when's the best time to get in? And my advice is always every day. It's always the best time to get in. Those that try to time the market, only about 2 to 3% of those are actually successful. So that's 97% of people that try to time the market don't come out ahead. But if you stay the path through the day-to-day ups and downs, because that's what we're on right now. If you stay the path on what you're putting in and not worry about where it's at, that's when you see that compounding interest and you see everything grow. And if you have another extra $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month on a dip like this, that's when you want to throw it in there because you're getting on sale. It's on basically you got a coupon to buy more.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And like, gosh, like that's what I've learned. And although I've been in this space for a long time, like in the investment space, I didn't really cement the idea of DCA until recently. And that's why, like, I'll throw, like, I have it like pre-scheduled to throw $5, $10, whatever, every single day into certain assets. And I just let it go. And now when I look at major falls, it doesn't bother me anymore because I know exactly where it's going again, because I know it's a proper investment. The thing is that a lot of people, what they do is they end up investing in something and then it starts to lose price and they do exactly what you said. Like, well, no, you haven't lost any money yet because you haven't sold. Yeah. But they don't understand that. So once it starts dropping in value, I mean, hell, Tesla, losing 50% value in just the past few days. Everybody is selling things off because they're scared. And it's like, no.
Well, unfortunately, with Tesla and X, it's emotional sell-off. All these people that 4 months ago thought Elon Musk was a genius, best thing that ever happened to the business world here in America. But now that since half the country is still on one side and they see him on another side, they're selling that off from an emotional state. And you should keep emotions out of investing at all costs, because guys like me are going to capitalize on that. So keep boycotting Tesla, because Tesla's going nowhere. because Tesla is not just automakers. They do solar panels and a lot of home, and they're always innovating. Tesla is not going to go away. So yeah, sell all your shares. I'll buy them up at a discounted rate in 5 years. Let's talk.
Dude, it's crazy. And it's what I don't understand is a lot of people that have been complaining about Elon Musk, just because I watch all different types of media. I watch both right-wing and left-wing media, and like politics is just so interesting to me. It's fascinating how people interact with one another. And I see all these left-wing people that are completely hate Elon Musk now. It doesn't make any sense to me, because I thought you wanted greener, cleaner working technology. And that's exactly what he's doing. So why do we hate him? It doesn't make any sense.
It's because he
You
aligned
know the
with Trump.
answer to this.
Yeah,
You
it's
already
'cause
know
he
the
aligned,
answer.
he aligned with Trump.
What?
Yeah.
Because no.
Normies
the
are
answer-
NPCs, man.
I think I think that the answer is that they're jealous of all of his baby mamas. They're like, why is this guy killing it? Why is this guy like Genghis Khan?
He's trying, but yeah, but it shows the emotional state and the emotional immaturity of society here in the West. This guy can do 100 great things for the world, but then he does one thing you don't like, and now he is public enemy number one. And the people that fall into that, of course, I have my personal thoughts on him, but I feel bad for him that you're letting that an emotional state impact your business state. And even if you don't have a job, but you still invest, that's a part of your business. You got to keep emotions out of business. I found that out yesterday. You know what I'm talking about, Alex.
Absolutely. It is. It's very interesting. And the emotional trading, I think, is a great point that you had said. So I'll be like very candid here. I've done a lot of options trades before, which is essentially, I even did some options trades today. Options trades are like gambling. When you are betting on things like that, things can quickly spiral out of control. You could make just on one contract, boom, $1,000 in a day. Lost no money, and you only put in like $50, boom, blows to the moon. But it can also wreck you as well. When you use emotions in trading, this is why all gamblers fail. And that's why gambling should only be used for entertainment purposes, is because you know what's possible, but you're never content with what you get. You could win a $15,000 jackpot, but you're going to want to, okay, so I'll take out 10, but I'm still going to use that 5. But then you lose that 5, and then you end up chipping into the 10 that you won, and then boom, you keep burning it down. It takes that control. And that's what we're seeing with the market right now. And you're absolutely right. Thank you for allowing us to buy on the discount, because this is going back. It's just, there's no shortcut to life. Like, that's the reason why the lottery exists, because it is a fantasy. There is no shortcut to life. And so when you do it slow and calculated and just stay present and live life as you want to live outside of money, you will end up being able to retire. You will end up gaining a lot of wealth, and you will ultimately become happier. This has been a very hard lesson for me to learn, because I have ran fast and loose a lot of times. So that's something to really pay attention to with everything that's going on. Regardless of what people are saying, America is just fine. The world, the global financial market is just fine. It's just a closing sale. Closing sale off idiots. I don't want to say idiots, but closing sale off people that are more uneducated about what's actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like my crypto bag, I'm still doing my $100 a month on Ethereum and $20 a month on Solana, and just sitting there. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I have a number in mind of when I would like to sell them off, and that's me predicting what when the next dip is, or next major dip. But that's me just thinking the short term as far as my long term holdings go.
Yeah, well, like, what did you think? Like, what was your emotional reaction when you saw that Solana dropped all the way down to 117 today?
Meh.
Hmm.
I'm like, stay low until Thursday. That's when my weekly buy goes. That's my emotion. Is like,
Well, it seems
I
that
hope it,
way.
yeah, I'm like, I hope it stays this low to Thursday.
Mhm. Yeah,
There
that's
you go.
that's the perfect attitude, and like, oh my God, it's down because I buy my Bitcoin through Swan and I do $50 a week, and I was still doing $50 a week when it went up to 105,000, and still $50 a week when it goes down to 60,000.
Yeah, like
I stay the course. I'm doing my part to ensure my future finances. I let the markets do whatever the fuck it wants. I really don't care.
Yeah.
Even if we had a major recession like we did in 2007. For one, I'm not going to freak out. I'm down, but that's fine. It will come back. And people that go into the mindset of the markets are supposed to just always go up, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, again, and like even with my Ethereum, with my number in mind where I want to sell, I'll sell it, keep that in my, I'll keep that money in the brokerage, but I'm not going to withdraw that money and wait for it to come down to a price that I feel safe buying again at. But in that same time period, I'll still be doing my $100 a month every 2
Mhm.
weeks.
That's good stuff. Hey, I want to ask you, AJ. I want your thoughts on this, and then I want to go to you, Kevin, on it. When it comes to discipline, when it comes to investing in the market, because sure, we can say based on historical charts, maybe right now is a good time to pay a lot of attention and maybe DCA more or pay more attention to what's going on because we're buying a discount. How do you keep structure with that DCA? Like how are you scheduling something? How do you analyze what makes sense? How do you determine when to leave? How did you even determine what your price target is for the assets you do own?
So I'm basing it off the last couple cycles from what I saw where uh pretty much on the bull run, Ethereum would double. So I'm looking at from its last all-time high, and then it would drop to about 25% higher than its previous low on that valley. So that's like that's where I'm pricing my or guesstimating my price at. Between 6 and 8 grand is where I'm gonna probably sell and then rebuy around 2.5.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That's what I was trying to understand is like how do we like think about this? Because
I'm
it's
looking at the
hard.
way the chart did its ups and downs through the last cycles.
Hmm. And that's why they do some of the like chart analysis where you're looking at different trend lines. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
I'm not that good at that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more intense. But I want to turn to you, Kevin. Like, how do you, when it comes to structuring and having the discipline to invest appropriately and into what and knowing when to sell, like, do you have price targets or what are you really making your decisions on?
Well, I'm solely long term. So the way I pick my funds or my securities is I look at track record. I look at the expense ratio. For one, I try to keep my expense ratios to 0.03 to 0.09. 0.1, I start to wonder why the fees are so high. But then I also look at the track record. And I don't own very many individual stocks. I stick with mutual funds, ETFs, and index funds. So for me, I'm strictly long term. I'm not looking to take a dime on this. That's why all my capital gains and my dividends are reinvested back into the security every quarter. But my main thing is how is it done? What are the top 10 holdings? What other funds do I have that have those same top 10 holdings? And the expense ratio. That's really what I look at. And it's not as complicated as some people, especially if you're just getting your financial advice from TikTok or Instagram. It's not as complicated as they try to make it. And it's damn sure not as easy as some of them try to make it. But if you're looking for the long term, I worry way more about being able to invest rather than withdraw. Now, there will come a time in my life when I will retire. And instead of just drawing from my 401k, my military retirement, and my IRA, I will at that point change the capital gains and dividends that I make every quarter or every 2 years, however they pay, that will go into my core account, and that will be money I can live on as well. As of right now, no, I don't worry about the day-to-day ups and downs. I don't worry about trends on Yahoo Finance. I don't worry about what Reuters says is the top 5 index funds for that month, because they change every month. So how can that ever be? I worry about more of the discipline of investing my money every month. And every time I get a raise, every time I get a bonus, every time my income increases, I increase that as well. So that's where compound interest, we don't have time to get into that. One of my webinars coming up is going to be solely on compound interest. So you might want to check that one out. So like, comment, and subscribe, and you will be available. That will be available to you on a live stream. If you want to see it and record it, there's other steps you got to take for that. But my main thing and my main discipline is what I put in, not what I'm making on it, what I'm going to withdraw from it at some point. It's all about having the discipline to invest your income, a percentage of your income every month, every 2 weeks, however you want to do it. That's the discipline. And then you can just sit back and relax.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely fantastic. And I was like thinking about it because I just watched something again yesterday that reminded me of it. When you think about the marshmallow experiment, where they took a bunch of children and they put them in a room and they said, you can have one marshmallow now, or we will come back, and at the time, and they don't know how long that's going to be. When we come back, then you will get 2 marshmallows. And it's interesting. They noticed that those that ended up waiting, they did something else to not think about it. So they would either put their head down, they would go into the corner, they would just walk around, they would do an activity, they would take their mind off of the fact that they can't have a marshmallow. And these are young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what's so important when it comes to investing is do the research on what has the potential. Don't get shocked by random market swings. And then everything works itself out. That compound interest webinar is going to be fantastic. I'm very much looking forward to it.
One other thing I got for
explaining compound interest in detail, that's when you get the aha moment from beginner investors, because then they start seeing that, okay, well, even if that index fund or even that individual stock, Coca-Cola is a great one, Verizon is another good one, that have consistently paid dividends for, well, Coca-Cola since the 80s.
Yeah.
Then you see it doesn't matter about the day-to-day ups and downs. It matters what they're giving you as a dividend every quarter. That's what's more important. Capital gains every year. That's what's more important. The day-to-day ups and downs are irrelevant when it comes to that.
And I think that people need to understand what they're purchasing. You are purchasing something of value, hoping that it appreciates in value.
Mhm.
So why would you just want to throw it away for less than you bought it? There are times where it makes sense when something's tanking. We've seen so many rug pulls when it comes to crypto, but
Octua.
I don't know, man. I made $400 off Yeezy coin, so I'm chilling.
I did want to say one more thing. Kevin kind of nailed it there, but probably the best piece of advice I ever got when it came to understanding like moving all your funds into indexes and stuff like that was listening to Laurent, our friend over from the Dragon Ship, talk about it.
Yes,
And
sir.
the best phrase that like completely helped me remove my emotion and become disciplined in it was bear market, bull market, it all tastes like chicken.
Love it. I love it. It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, we've been going for a little bit here. I want to keep this short and sweet. There's a lot of movements going on. We're gonna do a lot more of this, and we're gonna get much more in depth within the community talking about it. But I want to do a roundtable on final thoughts and what's going on in your world. And I know AJ might have book 2 soon.
Yes.
Let's hear about it.
Book 2, it is the Batman origin story, and it's the reason why I wrote my first book on cultivating emotional durability. This one will tell you why I had to cultivate it, and I feel, I'm going to use that merch, that even though I don't have a degree in psychology, I am probably up there as far as like understanding how to Cultivate It. Yeah. So that book should be out soon. It's pretty much all my failures, all my triumphs up to this point in life.
I'm really looking forward to it, and just so you guys know, yeah, AJ and I talked for, gosh, it was almost an hour. I think it was like
Yeah.
47 minutes. I don't know why I remember numbers that way, but we had a really great conversation about it today because I'm going through some of the things that you had gone through, and
Mhm.
it's very interesting, and you have the right perspective. So not only do you have AJ's first book on emotional durability, which I might have right here. We got the second one coming up, which is going to dive even deeper into some of these things. I love the fact that you the dog. No worries. I love that you said Batman origin story because it's going to be a really interesting read. So be on the lookout for that, guys. All right, Kevin, final thoughts. What else is going on in your life?
Well, we've got some exciting things going on professionally, personally. As far as the topic itself, it's when Trump gave his address last week, he even admitted to the farmers that bear with me for a couple of months. Good things are coming. And if everybody would just relax a little bit, especially when it comes to these markets and selling off, a lot of them that are selling off right now probably were affected by the 2007 recession we went into. We're nowhere near that. And stay the course. Like I said earlier, be disciplined on what you put in. Don't worry about what you're making or what you're going to pull out someday. Right now, your main focus is on what you put in. And if that's $100 a month, if it's 5,000 a month, that's where your discipline comes in. And don't worry about the day-to-day ups and downs. Don't let the media, don't let other investors by the sell-off making things go down. Don't make that waver your course. Stay disciplined on what you're putting in. And if you need to consult with someone to do a portfolio review to say maybe you can sell your profits off of this one and put it back into that one, by all means do that. However, if you're under retirement age, your main focus is what you put in, not what you're getting out.
Whoa, that one was an interesting one. I don't know if I've heard that before, but I think that that's fantastic advice because that's actually where I fucked up. I fucked up for most of the years that I could have been investing and really growing a strong nest egg because I wasn't focused on about what you put in. It's about what's pulling out. And I know that's a part of like the American mindset. It's just spend money, spend money, spend money. But looking back on it, like I see it now. Sure, I'm disappointed in myself, but it is what it is. Every day is a new day. That's why, with what you said earlier, Kevin, I really, really loved the best day to invest in your future is today. It was yesterday, but the next best is today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
It's good stuff. So I'm going to send us out here. This was a fantastic discussion. It really is March market madness. This entire thing is crazy, and as I said, like I ended up making a decent amount, or I didn't say this, but I'm saying it now. I made a decent amount of money off of doing put options on the SPY as I was seeing some of the things moving, and I hate put options because put options you don't get as much of an upside, but when you see what's going on with the market and then you see how it's going to recover, just pay attention to all those types of things. A lot of people hate politics, but international politics, global finance is incredibly important to understand so that you know what's going on. If you want to do fast movements, if you want to do slow movements, 100%, I recommend that you reach out to somebody like Kevin or you join the Men of Now community because we talk about all types of things. It depends on your risk level. You know, as you get older, your risk level goes down. But you're at least going to be equipped with the right information to make the decision for yourself. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. Nobody's going to force you to do anything. but at least if you're equipped to look at everything with the right lens, then you tend to become successful. I know we talked with Josh earlier and he had to hop, but with Josh is rarely wrong. And he's not rarely wrong because he knows what he's doing. It's just that he pays attention. So he knows when it's important to invest in what I would call like a gold standard, which would be like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or a Solana. He knows if I'm going to invest in a meme coin, like as I was making jokes about the Yeezy coin, which is true, that's a gamble. So Josh knows how to make calculated moves. And that's what I think is incredibly important for everybody to kind of absorb. Make calculated moves. Be informed. Don't just do something because someone said it. Do something because someone said it and then you have verified. It's always trust, but verify. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, and I cannot wait to see how tomorrow goes because I don't know if they're going to shut down the Department of Education or what, but it's going to be a very interesting day in America tomorrow.
Mhm. Well, if they want to stay open, they got to prove that they're valuable to the American people. And so far, any organization that Doge has investigated has not been able to do that.
Dude, have you seen all the stuff about Act Blue?
I haven't, no.
Okay, that is an entire other topic because that is a dumpster fire and a half. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. If you are interested in joining the community, make sure to go ahead and click the link there. From there, we'll just have a brief conversation with you. It's going to be like 10 minutes just to make sure that we're like a fit. Because the most important thing is let's make sure we get along and we kind of have the same mindset about everything. And gosh, the things that we have coming, I'm just so excited about, Kevin. But until next time, guys, peace out. Have a good one. Don't freak out. We are just fine.